Hey everybody, Texas Trucker here, Linus at Performance Shop at Mopars.com. We're Monday, Mopar Monday, 9 p.m., 60 degrees. Go home, you abyss of the dark, because it's a stupid time change. And, what better way to celebrate than by getting some stuff out of the floor, and in this case, back to work. So, as always, timestamps down below, as well as a link to the product. We don't make jack off of that. It's solely there for your convenience. That said, this is what we will be looking at. Much beloved, incredibly surprisingly accurate. You used to have the red Cen-Tech that used to, not too terribly long ago, be ascertained for free. So when it wasn't free, it was like stupid low. It's pretty dadgum cheap as it was. It's still cheap. I think they've still got it. But there is a problem with that one, and I'll tell you what it is. A while back, upgraded here from that to the Klein. At work, everything's Fluke, old Fluke in this case. I want to say the last time they were sent off for calibration, I asked, and I think they came out, they were either like late 70s, early something, I don't know, like 79, 81, something like that. They're not yellow, like they're that old of a Fluke. And speaking of Flukes, would you believe we've had multiple issues with them here in the last like 2 months. Number one, both of their batteries died at the same time. It was terrible. You kind of have a deal. We mainly are doing continuity with them, see if a motor check's burned or not. And one of the guys reported to me that it wasn't working good. I take a look at it, thinking that's probably the battery. And my natural thing is to, of course, go to the second Fluke and grab it. So I pull it out, and the battery's totally dead, doesn't come on. And then I ran back and went and grabbed the Cen-Tech, and I was like, oh, this will be fine. I'll just check continuity. It does not have audible continuity, and that's kind of what we need. So I'm like, well, screw it, I'll pull the battery. And at that point in time, as I was doing that, I realized the test leads on the Fluke on one of them had a minor tear. And you got to think, those things are old. I'm sure the test leads don't date back that far. They've probably been replaced several times. But long story short, they were both down. Apparently the last time one of them was calibrated, they did not put the set screws back in. So like the case is just sort of holding it. And I guess the battery was weak enough, the case wasn't making contact. And long story short, I've got the batteries, those case screws, if anyone knows, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, they are something funky. What was it, like a number 5? I mean, weird, like no one has them, weird type of a thing. You would probably need to like find one of those meters that has them, that's like non-functional on eBay or something, and buy it just solely to get the screws type of a thing. I'm sure somewhere someone has them, but in terms of like all my hardware suppliers, like people come up empty. So it was simply a deal where like, that's why I had that red one out there. It was just mainly to check like voltage, on forklift and truck batteries and stuff. But I assumed it had audible continuity, and it does not. So enter this. It's literally why I picked it up, so I would have audible continuity. And I think, looking quickly at these leads, I think they would interchange with at least the Cen-Tech, maybe even the Fluke. But I got that taken care of. We had spare leads. Had to find them. That's not something you have to replace every day. But so yeah, that's the story of why this is going with me. Check batteries, yes, but mainly audible continuity in the event that the Flukes go down. I'm going to use the Flukes 95% of the time for that, but in the freak instance where the batteries die or the test leads mysteriously, degrade simultaneously out of like sympathy or telepathy or something, we've got a cheap replacement. That's going to be fine. So 9-function digital multimeter, and look at that last line there. With audible continuity, you think that's a strange thing to advertise. Well, the red one that's a little cheaper than this does not have it, so this is a step up. Typically, you're not having to worry about, like noise, like machine shop sounds, things along those lines, air compressors. If you are, that's another perk to it, but essentially you have your 3 leads, assuming we're dealing with 3-phase, and you check across, and you listen for the beep, the drill. So, no beep, problem. Beep, possibly not a problem. Oftentimes, you know, you then put power to the motor and it smokes anyway, so yeah. But test AC DC voltage, DC current, resistance, diode, capacitance, and again, audible continuity. That's key word for tonight, is audible continuity. High accuracy, 6,000 count display. This is kind of, again, keeping in mind, this is sort of like a dumbed down emergency backup and vehicle battery checker. When they say battery tester, in this case, they're not necessarily meaning like, oh, look, you know, your motorcycle or the forklift. They're referencing, say, AA, AAA 9-volt, that type of a thing. So, you know, the little Harbor Freight battery, actually you can find them everywhere, with a little box that's like $1 or $2, you know, no electronics, you just put the battery on it and kind of clamps down type of a deal. That thing is great for testing batteries, kind of cumbersome. This has it as a feature. So, backlit display, which is, again, something nice that you know, the red one actually does have that, believe it or not. But it's one of those deals on mine and pretty much all of the others I've had and used. It's very finicky and very dependent on the state of the battery. But I'll go ahead and just kind of show you here. Not gonna lie, one of the other things that appealed to me was the color. You know, I like blue, obviously. Blue and black is great. It's a nice size. Looks like it would be fairly ergonomic. Definitely more comfortable than the red plastic rectangle that we're all accustomed to. Can't turn it on here through the packaging. It does include batteries there in the back, but you can sort of get a feel for this. I won't make you sit here while I cut it down, but right here I do want to highlight that we've got the battery test section here. So again, 9-volt, 1.5 volt, go to town, do what you will. Coming in over there, you can see the big deal for me is the audible continuity, so that's pretty cool. Flipping it around, I'm not sure they're going to add too much, but looks like a 2-inch digital LCD, automatically stores information after test. That's interesting. Automatic zero adjust, comes with 2 AAA. So again, AAA on this, not 9-volt, not AA. You probably don't have true. It's always bad, as we just referenced at the start of this. But 42-inch leads, that's nice. Functions tested: AC voltage 1 to 600, DC voltage 1 millivolt to 600 volts, DC current. You go up to 10 amps, so obviously you want to swap around. There's your capacitance and microfarad resistance for your diodes and everything. And that's about all she wrote. So, part number is going to be CM300. Again, so you don't have to sit through it. Got the Cutix way over on the other side of the shop, so out comes the functional Milwaukee. And we'll get this thing opened up, get it packed with batteries, and we'll kind of just do some quick run-throughs on it and call it good. So give me a few seconds to open this thing up, and we will get to playing around with it. And we're back. What was inside that cumbersome plastic shell? Again, we got our what should be 42-inch test leads, red and black, capped on this end for whatever reason in the package. I guess that's nice if that was a spare as well. Right here, again, cannot stress enough, 2 AAA. And then right here, we've got the meter. And you think, cool, let's check it out. We can't. Those are the batteries. So, why are we filming, you ask? Well, this is kind of important. Number one, let's check it out. We've got the kickstand. So, boom, super nice again. Kind of overkill and weird, unless picture yourself like in an awkward position and you need the meter to face you instead of landing face down, or you can prop it against something. There is no hanging provision, but you could rig kind of. I guess you could, I mean, if you put a lanyard or something, you could do some things. But anyway, you know, depending on what you're doing, what you plan to do with this, that could be good, could be insignificant. However, I told you how well I liked this blue color, and you're like, yeah, that blue and gray is kind of sharp. Well, we've got to get rid of it, and we won't have to do that too terribly often. But let's see what kind of a pain it is. It's more of a pain with a tripod in front of you. But once you get her going, I think we'll be home free. Oh man, there we go, and boom. So what is that? It is a protective boot, not unlike the Fluke, but right here, unlike the Fluke with 4 screws, one of which again doesn't have any, we've just got 1. So we're going to open that up, we'll get the batteries in, and then this, if you lose the cover, if you hate the color, whatever, if you think you get better grip with this, this is what your meter would look like. So again, Could be important if you've got multiple stations, you want to divvy these up, you're trying to color code things, you know what goes where. Buy this, it can be gray, it can be blue, it's up to you. It should highlight. I don't think we mentioned, if you want to have your little test lead here stowed in place, you're going to actually need to put the boot back on for sure. But with that said, I'll get this opened up, get the batteries in, and we will take it from there. Alright, so magically, just like that, with our trusty Wiha, we've got the battery cover off, batteries in, battery cover on, cover back on. What size screw? Was it Phillips? Was it Posi? Number 2 Phillips, number 1 Phillips. If you guessed, dun, 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 this will be fun. And that's focus. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Foo Fighters. That's right, PH0. That's what you're going to need there. So number 0. Get to use your precision drivers. Makes sense? Well, it should be a precision instrument, right? So, right here, I'm really bad about leaving test leads kind of bundled up like this. Just, I don't know, something I've done. Since what we primarily are going to be doing is real basic, mundane, low voltage stuff, we got your comm jack there. We're going to take the black. We're going to install that. Nice tight fit here. I will tell you, you can kind of, one of the ways I fixed a set of test leads that people thought was dead is those probes right there. In the case of the Fluke, they had kind of like closed down. I was able to spread them back out, get the tension back in, but that'll give you a much better reading. So right here, this is the meter with the leads installed. Let's see what she looks like. So we're just going to come in over here to, oh yeah, that's what I like to see. So that APO in the top corner is apparently auto power off. If I were to leave the camera running for 15 minutes, you'd probably see this turn itself off around that time. But we're not going to do that. We'll take their word for it. This is the first thing I want to do. That is a nice clean backlight compared to that little cheap one. So that's a win. Again, note the difference there. It's not the best with a high light condition that we're in, but you get an idea for it. So I guess what we'll do, I might just take you, well, it's kind of a train wreck over there. We'll just grab the Klein, I guess, and kind of compare the readings on this real quick and take it from there. So give me 1 second and we will relocate or haul a battery over here. Alright, so I apologize in advance for this mess, but it's the best I can do under the circumstances. It's Monday night, I got stuff to do, I'm super tired. We're going to crank this out anyway. So, what we have sitting here is a 12-volt battery used for totally not nefarious purposes. Now, what we're going to do is come in real quick with the Klein, get fired up. Ironically, its batteries are not dead, which is fantastic. The thing I don't like about this is I always have to jump around, hit select a bunch of times. It kind of gets annoying. But if I can run this mess of test leads over here, and somehow I need like 4 hands. I've only got 3. We'll see what I can do for video purposes here. So, boom, look at that, I'm able to do it. 12.42, fantastic. Hasn't killed this battery yet. So remember that, 1242. Well, let's come into our brand new semi-El Cheapo meter, and we're going to turn it on, and we will dial her in. We'll go with 60. And once again, we'll try our hand. This is all snaked up right now. We're going to take that. We're going to go here. 1247. Oh, there is some variance. I swear that red one, I have tested it extensively. It is always dead on with the Klein. Right there though, 1247, 1242. So this meter's a little happy. 0.05 in this case. What we will do now is maybe go into battery mode. Alright. I think we will. We'll just do that. So, dadgum, I don't think I can get to this. Let me... Oh boy, where is it? Somewhere back in here. I can feel it, but I can't fit my hand in there. You have no idea what I'm doing, but just rest assured. Oh boy. There we go. Alright, yeah, everything's going wrong. So, we're checking the ability of that to stay on or turn itself off. But in reality, we're going to do this. This is that El Cheapo battery box. I kind of like this thing. Simple, effective, no batteries. Ironically, right? And in this case, with the AA, we want to come in and we want to set down. Again, just treat it like a cruddy little beard trimmer. We're going to put that there. She pegged. She's good. That's all there is to that. Okay. So, what we will do now is try to pull these out of the way. And we're going to come down. In this case, we're going 1.5 volt. And man, again, this is where that third or fourth hand would be nice. Something I notice on these, the jacket is not removable. I'm not getting a ton. I mean, it's nice on one hand, bad on the other. So this is reading 1577, so that's good. I thought it actually said good or bad. Well, this is fine, but you could also accomplish this with, you know, the voltmeter itself. Oh, it does say good. Right above the 7.6 there at the end, the 0.576, there is good. I'm gonna, oh man, once again, there's nothing wrong with it saying what it says, but it's like, yeah, you could do that without having a standalone feature. So what I want to do now is have you pay attention again to that final decimal place. See where it says good? Kind of. Watch the, you know, 5.0 whatever. So, the glare, let's try the backlight. That totally doesn't help you any, nor does that. Maybe the good will show up good here. Let's see if this goes well, shall we? You can totally see the OOD and kind of the G. So, I'm going to call that good, ironically. That is what I wanted you to see there. Now, right here, I've got the cheap ones, right? 9-volt cheapos, because they were on sale and the expensive ones weren't. I always have 9-volt batteries around because they're in terrible devices like smoke alarms that go off. Never in the middle of the day when you're doing something with a ladder, but always like at 3 in the morning. And, you can't sleep, you know, type of a thing. So, what we'll do now, we want to go to 9-volt. Again, this is brand new, so it should be fine. But we will line things up here. 920, 933, good. You can kind of see it there. Sort of runs a bit. Oh man, you know, if I hold this here long enough, we might have a 12-volt battery, huh? So, tested good basic function again. If you didn't know, if you use 9-volt batteries a lot and you think, I'm not buying a meter for that, well, check this out. You can come in here and peg that down, as you can hopefully see. Good, right? So, that is that. Now, what's this hoopla I made about Audible Continuity? Why did they print that? Audible Continuity junk. Well, this isn't as cool as a burned motor or as exciting or as expensive, but it is a little jumper harness I make for testing things, right? Nothing crazy, just 16 gauge wire. And if we can swing the dial over, can't really see what I'm doing, it's somewhere in here. Right there, this thing that looks like a volume setting, okay, that's going to be our Audible Continuity in this case. If you want to get to another function, you would press the hold or select, or hold and select, I'm not 100% sure. One of the two, I'm sure will get you there. In this case, I don't care, because Audible Continuity is what I want. And if I can do this without slipping out, you should hear a constant beep, which is what I like. Some meters don't do that, they like intentionally do a like kind of a tone thing, intermittent. Beautiful. That's exactly what I want. Long, audible, easy to tell that from A to B on that test lead we have got continuity. So imagine you're testing out a gauge or a light, whatever it may be. If you had that and that was your harness there, and you're like, man, this thing isn't working, what's the deal? I've got 12 volts at the battery. You know, if I take the light directly to the battery and just harness it off, the light illuminates. What's the deal? Could it possibly be the brand new harness that came with it? You just simply come in, you go end to end, and if you don't hear that and you've got good contact on it, you've got a problem in the harness, right? Shocked face with aftermarket electronics. But that's really it. That's about all that I want to do with this. Now, there's got a lot of other features that we could do, but again, For me, the number one objective with this is backup, Audible Continuity. The number two thing, where I'm going to keep this, it'll be way closer and way more convenient for me to get to than the Flukes. Check the forklift, check the work trucks, what have you, home free on that front. So having a little one, AA, AAA are going to cover you 90% of the time. The 9-volt, unfortunately, is going to rear its ugly head. Anything else, crazy security system batteries or something, we can just use the voltage function. But I gotta tell you, I kind of like this little thing. So MSRP on this is $19.99. Of course, we didn't pay that, and we never pay full retail price unless it's something brand new I really want to make a video on, or I think is going to go out of stock. So pick this up with a little coupon. I mean, you can get yourself down into the around $10 range for $10. I don't know what more you could ask for. Now, in terms of comparison, obviously we're looking at it's not crazily significant, but 0.05 there on a 12-volt battery, something to keep in mind. Now, which one is off, which one is accurate, don't know. You would think the Klein would be slightly more reputable, but like I said, for what it's worth, if I've had this Klein out here and I'm checking my vehicle battery and it's coming in at 1068, and I'm like, oh no, I have to charge it, I'll get a second opinion, the different multimeter, and that thing almost always mirrors it exactly. If it's not, it's a deal where we're sitting at like 1203 on the Klein, 1202 here. Now obviously that's a stationary battery, you put power to it with an alternator charging or something, you're going to see fluctuations, but for all intents and purposes, the LL Cheapo old school giveaway has been solid. And then this guy right here, it looks better to me. It feels better to me. The one thing I really do hate about that red one, number one, it doesn't have audible continuity, but number two, just the ergonomics of that thing suck. It's like holding a plastic brick. The other thing, you've got that cheesy little on-off switch here, and if you're like me, sometimes you go to on and it doesn't come on. You're like, whoa, hey, I just changed that battery last weekend. It ain't bad. And you kind of have to squeeze the case, right, to make good connections. And, it's one of those types of deals. This one seems to be pretty legit here in initial testing, and again, I'm not asking the world of this. Rest assured, the Flukes are what we use, but again, this has its place as a backup. Realistically, I think this, given the better backlight, the backlight on that red one is also very, very finicky, but I might pick a few more of these up. I'll see how this does before I do that, but probably have a little bit of seat time with her. But yeah, this little guy right here, no complaints for the price so far. Again, plus minus 0.05, kind of significant, but at the same time, it's 12-volt battery. We kind of know the cutoff range, right? So, with that said, yeah, let me know. You can come in handy here. If you have had this, you might have had it much longer than me. What do you think of it? How does it compare to the L? Everyone's had the El Cheapo because it used to also be an El Freebie. And if not, you probably grabbed one just to throw in the car, random, like literally roadside stuff. You've got a free or $5 meter. You don't care if it's raining. You don't care what happens to it. It's there as a utility tool to benefit you. It is what it is. This one's slightly nicer, and nothing really wrong at all with this. I think a lot of people get by 100% with this as their main meter. You're doing simple home renovation type stuff, this could come in handy. Obviously in automotive setting, it's good. Industrial, we've covered a couple of scenarios there. Yeah, it may not pop quite as well. One big thing about a clean Fluke, that is a big caveat, a clean Fluke. And you're like, whoa, you said all of yours were gray. Well, they technically are. They're kind of black, but all the rest of our Fluke stuff is newer, and it is yellow. Great thing about that, it sticks out, it stands out, you almost can't miss it. Now, the Klein's the same way with the orange. This stands out pretty good, but again, picture my hands a little greasy. This is gonna black out fairly quickly. You'll always have a little bit of blue to it, and of course you can clean it. It's amazing how people don't take care of expensive precision instruments, this not being one of them, but if they're not going to clean the Fluke, they're not going to clean this type of a vibe. So at the price point, I think it is a solid alternative for you. So again, Depending on what you do, I would not probably advise this professionally, but a nice little backup, kind of a throw in the trunk or the, under the seat of the truck type of a deal. You could do much, much worse in my opinion. So like I said, I'll kind of have this, I'll compare it to some stuff. Once I get it to work, we'll kind of well, as soon as I have time to do random play around things, I'll kind of like go check. Next time I have to screw around with the battery, I'll grab this and the Fluke and we'll sort of see how they stack up. But I'll keep tabs on that. Again, if you have experience or insights with this thing, by all means, tell me, leave a comment, help people out. Like I said, $20 is not bad, but be patient. You can probably, geez, the blank off of items, 20 under, 10%, 20%. They're not going to exclude this little guy. So, yeah, you can knock the price down a smidge. So, with that said, initial impressions, okay. Nothing really negative to say. The big thing for me, again, it does voltage. It has the benefit of giving you good confirmation on batteries. Again, which you have a meter, it's kind of redundant, but hey, it's something people could use and be happy with. And big thing, again, for where this is going to be headed to at work, Audible Continuity. And again, serving in a backup role, I think this thing is going to be pretty dadgum good. So with that said, let me know your thoughts on that thing, if you've used it. Price points, if you got like, hey, for $15 you can go to this place and get this meter that does all that and more, and it's proven and tested. Any expertise you have in that field, by all means, leave your thoughts down below, help people out. But, on that note, I'll wrap this thing up. I got something else I'll try to crank out here tonight. It's very, very closely related to this, so if you liked this, you might check our next one. We might have something else you like. But speaking of that, if you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. And again, if you do subscribe, you ring the bell, you jump your charger across the creek, you run diagnostic tests between 15 different meters while the charger flies through the air. YouTube just might notify you that we got new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, little bonus content for you. This Klein light has the original battery, and it's still going. That thing is several years old now. I used it quite a bit, and the charge is kind of crazy it's lasted that long. But yeah, little bonus for you. And like I said, if you liked seeing this little Cen-Tech meter in action, I think you'll enjoy the next one. So I'll get to that. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have yourself a fantastic week. Most importantly, I hope I catch you back here, maybe even at this junky electrical workbench, for more action from the shop.